Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai and you're watching Law of the Land on Raj Sabha TV. Today we bring to you the recently passed 3 bills of the Ministry of Human Resource and Development: the Indian Institute of Information Technology Amendment Bill, the Central Universities Amendment Bill, and the School of Planning and Architecture Amendment Bill. To discuss the issue, I have with me Dr. S. Lakshmi Devi, former Principal, Shaheed Rajguru College of Applied Sciences for Women, University of Delhi, and Mr. S.S. Mantha, former Chairman, AICTE. Now for the headlines. The Indian Institute of Information Technology Amendment Bill provides more autonomy for the institutes to get into areas of research. The Central Universities Amendment Bill seeks to set up another central university in Bihar to cater to the education needs of the state. The School of Planning and Architecture Amendment Bill provides more autonomy to the schools of planning and architecture. The Indian Institute of Information Technology Amendment Bill seeks to provide to the existing IITs more autonomy so that they can get into various areas of research. It also seeks to upgrade it to the level of institutions of national importance.
The Indian Institute of Information Technology Amendment Bill seeks to provide the existing IITs an independent legal status so that they can grant degrees to students. Union government is amending the law to make new provisions to allow these institutions to get into the area of research based on the needs of the industry. According to the government, education is a key element for developing human resources and contributing to the growth of the society.
But as far as the governance structure is concerned, I think it should be left completely on the Board of Governors. So I don't see any reason why we should have, because if there are issues, the matter still goes to the MHRD. So the minister concerned will still have the last word. Why have one? Because problem with this kind of an approach where the minister chairs, as the chairman of BOG you may approve, but as a minister you may have a difficulty in approving it.
The bill empowers the existing 4 IITs in Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and 2 in Madhya Pradesh to create and make appointments to various posts and establish and maintain required infrastructure on their own. The bill allows IITs to have a board of governors under an elected chairman to make decisions on administration, and it allows IITs to have a senate to decide on academic issues. The Senate will be chaired by the Director of the Institute, and senior faculty members and persons of eminent importance on the field of information technology will serve as members.
One is again universities, higher education institutions, very specialized institutions of this kind. Every institution should be having its own unique vision and mission. So to group all of them into one category and have a common mission, the common vision statement, common act may not necessarily be good. Perhaps that's the wisdom that prevailed in having different state acts, different central acts for each university, whether central university or state universities. So until now every university came up with a single act of its own.
To make good use of talent and experience of the faculty members of IITs, government has introduced a new provision to create a research council. The council will be established to coordinate the activities of all institutes. Council will consist of ministers having administrative control over technical education, industry partners, chairpersons and directors of all institutes, and persons of eminence in the field of information technology. Council will advise the government on matters relating to duration of the course and lay down policies regarding recruitment and fees. The Indian Institute of Information Technology IIT Bill 2014 was introduced in Lok Sabha on 12th August 2014. The bill aims to set up IITs to improve the quality of human resources at par with global standards within the information technology sector. Educationists are concerned about a provision in the law which allows the minister to be one of the participants in the Board of Governors. They feel that this will have a direct political interference of the government on the matters of the administration. With camera person Narayanan, Rajkamal Rao, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Indian information technology industry has emerged as a strong and credible force and is now recognized as a major constituent of the global IT services industry. In order to develop manpower for different areas of knowledge economy, education and training in information technology is a need of the hour. After having said that, ma'am, first question to you is, you heard,
Yes.
to what level do you think is it permissible or should be allowed for the minister in charge to be part of the council activity?
Well, with regard to the council activity, even if the minister is there, we have a board of members there and they are all experts in their field. The minister will have to consider their viewpoints because since they are eminent experts, the point of view of the expert should not be just waved away with, because it's very important to understand what is the requirement of an institute. And when it comes to research, it is the expert who should be given the highest responsibility and they should be given a way forward.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of having an executive from the political side?
No, today, if you look at the entire IT industry, it has been changing the world over, and there are new applications and new technologies emerging. A case in point is the world over cybersecurity has been extremely important area. Similarly, big data analytics and so on. So there is a requirement of the policies which go across the domain of technology and the requirements of the government. So in a council, there should be a judicious mix of what the experts would require and what the government's perspective would be. So I don't think it's a question of clash of any interests or anything like that. It's just to get the government's point of view, probably, which would be done in the way it is structured. But I do believe that the experts within the council, when they would be extremely eminent people. So therefore, they would look at the policy requirements for all the four institutions and towards the technology as it is evolving across the world.
Right.
So that's an important aspect which should be taken care of.
Ma'am, you've been head of an institution, you have handled the administrative and the academic side, both.
That's right.
Now, in a situation like this, and that also of a technical organization,
Yes.
you have assigned, I mean, your college that you were principal of is a technical organization.
That's
Now, what are the challenges and the problems if you have someone trying to manage or guide you in your affairs?
Well, for 26 years I have been running the institution and I have found less of interference by the government once you put forward your point of view in a reasonable way. I'm sure the people in the helm of affairs, even if it is a minister, you have to give your viewpoints and make them understand this is what is the requirement. And I think people do understand. And it does not come in the way of implementing your courses. For example, we were associated with the Delhi government who were funding us. I found that the interference was least and I could go ahead for 26 years and the institute has come up very well. Well, government also has its own policies and we have to see how we adjust with their policy. It cannot be done in isolation.
Sir, what was it? Now, this is a legal framework that has been provided to upgrade IITs, get into the area of research. The entire purpose is research oriented. What is it that the IITs could not do earlier that they will now be able to do?
See, what really happens in research is there are several facets of research. You could have experimental research, you could have statistical, anecdotal, and so on. So each one has its own requirements and so on. And for research to happen, you need very committed individuals and who have a very good collaboration with the industry. Now, while the industry comes in, there are several aspects that the industry looks at as important to them. And a government perspective would be different. And the institutional perspectives, aspirations of the people who are doing research would be different. Now, it's extremely necessary that all three are mapped into one single goal. So, therefore, I believe that the research as it would evolve, it requires a great support from the industry and the government in terms of funding, in terms of the facilities that are required and so on. So therefore, if you say that what the institutions could not do earlier is probably the freedom to get the best of the people into the system. And if you want the best of the people into the system and say that this is what I'm going to pay you as a fixed salary, then probably things won't work. I've just given you one small area of conflict. So therefore, if the freedom to get the best of the people into the system and have a different model of a payment to them, probably it does make a big difference.
Ma'am, why is it important for any institution to get into area of research?
Okay.
And why should certain institutions be kept away from research? And why this call is taken only in IITs and not for other institutions?
Well, research is an inherent part of any educational institution. Wherever research goes on, there will be development. Unless and until you know what are the thrust areas where we can have the innovations, then only the teaching also improves. We have to have that collaborations.
Why not for everyone?
Yeah, if you have a look at the polytechnics, you will find that we are catering to another segment in the industry where we require workers at levels which are lower. If you want people to work at a higher level, then you want innovation, creativity and research. And therefore, there can be two levels of institutions. One which is catering to the industry demands and they are having hands-on training as to what is required in the industry. But if you want the growth of the IT industry, then there has to be innovation, there has to be creativity, and we also have to see what is the industry requirement. Therefore, what we used to do in our college was, we used to call always the industry personnel as to what are the research and what are the thrust areas in their industries. And therefore, we could modify our curricula accordingly.
Sir, now since this legal framework is available, how do you see the things improving from here on?
See, I think one of the best provisions of the bill is enhanced autonomy. And autonomy has 4 threads. For example, you have managerial autonomy, you have administrative autonomy, you have financial autonomy, and you have academic autonomy. Now, when all these 4 come together with a good council which sets up policies as they have to be implemented and a good leader to implement these policies within the institution, you have a great setup which can do things. So therefore, I think it's all in all, it's a good provision within the bill.
Do you think the 4 autonomy points that you made out, what are the points where this bill actually doesn't serve the purpose?
No, I think these all 4 are complementary. I mean, if I say that academic autonomy without financial autonomy has really no meaning. So the bill does provide ways of acquiring funds and external funds. It allows for collaborations. It allows for getting people from outside to be employed to do specific research and so on. And it also allows collaboration. So I believe all those complementary features are built within the bill, and therefore the synergy that is required between the four, and the most important thing is all these four will work only if you have a good leader.
That's
So
right.
we still have to wait and watch about the leadership role. Ma'am, the implication for the students, how do the students gain?
Well, these institutes, if they are in different regions, I would say they should cater to diverse kind of IT applications. It need not be that it should be uniform. So what happens is, like we have central universities in different areas, there are requirements of specific regions, and there are human resources available who are at a particular level. We have to cater to their needs. So we have to see what is the level of human resource in that particular area, what we can provide, and what are the industry in and around that area, and then decide the curriculum. So if we have some innovation like that, that will help.
Sir, the role of leadership becomes very crucial in delivering the whole thing. With that in mind, the student's perspective.
See,
How do the students gain from this legal framework?
see this.
It's good for the industry, it's good for the government, it's good for the academicians, everyone. But all this is being done to ensure some sort of a talent is created from the student side. Do you see that happening?
Absolutely, it has to happen with when you have the basic ingredients there. Obviously, what are we having all this for? So there is a student-centric approach which needs to be developed with these four aspects that I have talked about, and the collaborations, for example, that we are talking about in IT area, which is so very important because the whole technology has been changing for a period of time. The entire collaborative effort would make the teachers, the faculty, who are into teaching and as well as research, much more dynamic,
and that would translate into
absolutely it would translate into the their own teaching methodologies, their own approach towards problem solving and so on. And the best thing that they should really do is see, innovation doesn't happen like that. For innovation to happen, you need people who can dream and who are mavericks in a sense. So not the straight-jacketed people. So you need to cultivate these as habits, allow those as teaching methodologies, and all this will come up only when there is freedom to work.
Allow. Okay. We'll take a short break from here. Coming up, Bihar is to get another central university to cater to the educational needs of the state. Welcome back. The Central Universities Amendment Bill seeks to set up a central university in Bihar to cater to the education needs of the state. The bill grants the central university status to the already existing university to enable them to access central assistance. The government has also empowered the School of Planning and Architecture by upgrading its status.
Bihar has been geographically divided into two land masses by river Ganga. The present university, due to its location, could only cater to southern part of Bihar. A long-standing demand of the state was met by the central government by recognizing this issue. Now there will be a university in the north side of the Ganga to specifically cater to the region.
Will there be a clash between the state and center? In fact, the history of Bihar's new university is because of this clash. The local government, Nitish Kumar government, wanted this to be in Motihari. But the site selection committee, where I happen to be one of the members, figured that Motihari may not be the best place. It should be other than Motihari. And that's where he said, no, So they managed, Nitish Kumar ji said that no, it has to be only in Motihari. Government of India said no, it cannot be. So they managed it as a short-term thing in Patna. Only now they got a land in Gaya.
The bill proposes to rename the existing Central University of Bihar to Central University of South Bihar, as it is located in the southern part of the river Ganges. The new Central University proposed to be set up will be called Mahatma Gandhi Central University. It will be located in Motihari in East Champaran. According to the new provisions, the Mahatma Gandhi Central University will have a territorial jurisdiction extending to the territory in the north of the river Ganges in Bihar.
Particularly, we have really much more expansion than what we could sustain. In the sense that we have several new universities that came up both in the state level and also central universities, many of which are severely starved of all kinds of resources. Financial resources is one, but that could be solved if the central and state governments have some determination to do it. But all the universities are severely suffering from shortage of faculty. Where do you get the faculty? Where do you get the students, really, good qualified students? And you have to really have sustainable programs. There is certainly no fun in having a central university or for that matter a state university to have 4 departments, because there is a minimum condition of a University Grants Commission to say that the university must have 4 departments and run a university. That will be like less than an undergraduate college.
The Central Universities Amendment Bill was introduced in Lok Sabha on 14th August 2014. The bill amends the Central Universities Act 2009. It states that large-scale requirement of access to and quality in higher education was not being met by just one university in the state. Government is hoping that all the universities that have been amended and given autonomous status will perform to the fullest capacity and be able to produce the entrepreneur and the skill development that is required for this government. With camera person Narayan, Rajkamal Rao, Rajya Sabha TV.
The bill was introduced by the UPA government and was approved by the NDA government. Now, sir, the big question, you saw the story. What is the conflict, essentially, the political conflict, in view of a university taking off between the state and the center? What is it?
No, I wouldn't really look at it as a conflict. What happens, Bihar is a large state, and there are aspirations of people all over the state. And one university located at the southern side may not actually look at all the requirements of a population that large. So rather than looking at it as a tussle between state and center, it should be looked at as meeting the aspirations of the people on the other side.
All that is said, all that is fine. I am saying, in case a center wants to set up a university, how important is the role of the state to ensure that the university takes off? I'll put it this way.
Absolutely. There has to be a great synergy between the two, because the university obviously will have to run in that state, located in the state. So the synergy has to be there. But I don't see why it should result into a conflict. It doesn't result always in a conflict. The point is, a university is set up with departments, with large number of departments which do interdisciplinary research and multidisciplinary research. And in a state as large as and as diverse as Bihar, these aspirations, the requirements of the people, of the population on the southern side would not necessarily be the same as the people on the other side. Though many of them will be common. But all this needs to be projected within a university, provide the basic infrastructure that is required to do all this. And in order to do that, both have a very specific role to play.
Ma'am, the politics in education, ma'am, the political part, how does it happen?
You see, if we look at the good part, means we want welfare of the people.
The implication part, ma'am, how does it impact you and the institution?
I am going to tell you about Bihar. Most of the Bihari students used to migrate from Bihar. And I think it's necessary that we have another university. Because why should they migrate from Bihar to other parts of the country? for higher education. And once the need is met, and if we have aim and goal as the common good of the people, neither the state nor the center should have any conflict. Then only we can achieve our goals. The moment the conflict will come, we will not be able to achieve those goals. Therefore, I feel that the cooperation between both state and center has to be there if we want the goal to be achieved.
Also on the regional aspects of the university being given to one north of Ganga and the other south of Ganga, the regional aspiration that you earlier mentioned.
Yes, because you see, for what happens is, if we have a look at each region, I'm going to give you an example of the kind of food which Biharis eat. One of them approached me and they said, we do sattu ka atta. Now supposing we have a food technology course coming up, we'll be able to use those regional things which are there.
Okay. So
that's one of the examples I'm giving. So I think that's very, very important. We look at the region, what is the requirement, and then we make the courses.
Besides the Central University Bill, the government has amended the School of Planning and Architecture Amendment Bill to provide more autonomy to the schools of planning and architecture in New Delhi, Bhopal and Vijayawada. Now these institutions will be brought at par with the likes of IITs and IIMs. The new provision of the bill confer the status of institution of national importance to all the three schools of planning and architecture. Moving on, my colleague Rajkamal Rao spoke to Maninder Singh, Director of Architecture.
The status of an institution of national importance and Act of Parliament, of course, is far ahead, a step ahead compared to just a registered society and a deemed university. How will it help? I'm sure it will help in terms of funding for research, funding for other projects, and growth, opening the various issues pending, like opening of maybe new departments, expansions, will all help. Once you are under Act of Parliament, your budgetary allocations can be higher. You would get that support. We hope the autonomy will remain same or more. They will be autonomous. So which was assured by the government that they'll ensure that the autonomy is not tinkered with. So the 60-year experience carries on. It doesn't stop. None of the staff changes, none of the faculty changes.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am, for joining us on this discussion. It's time for us to end the show. You can email your suggestions and comments to law.rstv@gmail.com. You can also watch our shows on the RSTV page of YouTube. We'll be back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Raj Sabha TV.